As was tweeted yesterday, after the horrific 5-15 start, Steve Ballmer has spoken with Ty Lue and Lawrence Frank about how to, quote, turn things around. That per Law Murray. Ballmer also made it clear that the job to turn it around is on Lue and Frank. Now, that was 5-15 that is now turned to 5-16 because the Clippers absolutely got run off the floor last night, 140 to 123 in a game that frankly wasn't that close. They're one of the worst teams in the season, but they're linked to the best team in the season this season, the Thunder, because they owe them an unprotected first round pick. We're going to get to that in a minute, why that's an absolute disaster. But let's start with the Clippers. They lose 140 to 123. Ty Lue, Lawrence Frank, supposed to be able to fix it. Is it too big of a disaster to be fixed, Caroline?
Yes! It is way too big of a disaster to be fixed. They're 5-16. They've lost 5 straight. They've lost, let me count correctly, 8 of their last 9. The Clippers are terrible. The Clippers are dreadful. The Clippers are awful. And are they statistically eliminated from the postseason? No. Is there a path? Sure. We've seen the Clippers last season go on an absolute late season run, just enough to sneak into the play-in tournament. But could that happen? Sure. Does it look like this team is capable of doing that? Capable of putting things together enough to go on a run to make themselves, I don't know, relevant? No. So it does feel inevitable that the Clippers are going to move on from Ty Lue. But my question is, what does that really do? Does that all of a sudden make the Clippers a better basketball team? Maybe, but I think they have far bigger problems than just the head coach.
I mean, the Clippers are broken, and I'm just going to be a realist here. The reality of it is, when you are as broken as they are at 5-16, nothing is going to fix you this year. Like the honest answer, and this is where Clippers fans can try and spend all day like Charlie Day and Always Sunny with the little map, trying to figure out, well, what if this? There is no solution. Find me the last team that started a season in the range of 5-16 and then made some big move that suddenly turned them around and made them relevant during that same season. Doesn't happen. So now what do you have as a Clippers organization? You have an old roster full of guys that don't really want to play, that may not want to play together, that may not like anybody they play for, in an organization that doesn't have enough talent to compete with the rest of the West. Like, let's just lay it out like it looks. I mean, the end of the day, if this was chopped, as I like to say all the time on Food TV, you open it up, your basket of ingredients is moldy and worthless. Your chef can't cook with them. Your restaurant manager doesn't know what they're doing, and you're surprised that the meal sucks. Like, everything about this entire process is just broken. And, I see Kawhi saying we got to worry about winning a game right now first before we think about any type of championship. Kawhi, don't waste your time thinking
Championship.
about championships unless
Playoffs.
you're talking about 2K. Go play 2K if you want to win a title.
Championship.
It's the only shot you got. Like, this entire thing is so broken and so predictably broken for the Clippers. Like, if you thought the Clippers were going to be good, shame on you. And if you're trying to figure out how to fix it now, double shame on you. Like, I love the fact that we started this with Ballmer saying it's up to them to fix it. How? What, sir, do you propose that they do that would actually fix this disaster of a team this year? Because the answer is nothing. No matter who comes in, I don't care. Fine. Bring in Van Gundy. He's the top assistant. Let him take over. Oh, wow. I got a ton of faith now that the Clippers are going to go on a run. They suck. Like, they suck. They're going to suck all year. They're going to suck at the end of the year. And then, stop me if you've heard this before, they're going to have to rebuild in the offseason.
And I think the worst part, and don't get me wrong, there's a lot of bad. Like, there is zero putting lipstick on that pig that is the Los Angeles Clippers. But they're old and expensive and injured. That's the 3 worst things that you could be in sports: old, expensive, and injured. It's not even like they're young and losing, but figuring things out. And you can maybe, have a little bit of hope for a young core. That doesn't exist for the Clippers. They are terrible now. There may be impending league punishments from the aspiration of it all. So it's like they're bad. There's no hope for them getting better. At least I don't think there's hope for them getting better. If you think there is, then point me to it, because you might need a magnifying glass to be able to siphon through all the bad to find just a little bit of a silver lining on that dark gray cloud. And there's no hope for them to get better. They don't have their first round pick. Like, there's just zero hope or zero light at the end of the tunnel for how the Clippers get themselves out of this. You want to move on from some of these guys? You want to trade from some of these guys? Okay. Let's say you do have a trade partner. What kind of assets are you going to get back to make a difference, legitimate difference for a
You're
different
not.
future?
You're not. And to your point, we just saw the graphic. They're $6.8 million over the luxury tax. You want to talk about everything that you mentioned. They're old. They're expensive. Yeah, right there. It says they're currently $6.8 million above the luxury tax. They may look to shed salary and get below that threshold. You think? You want to save money on this? Like, to be clear, you're over the threshold. You cheated the salary cap according to multiple reports. So, like, you lied, cheated, and stole your way to
To be
this.
bad.
To be horrific. Like, at this point, being old, being injured, being expensive, the one thing the Clippers need to add to this is just to become irrelevant. Because frankly, the only way that they're going to fix this thing is if they rip it down to the studs and they try all the way over. And then if they're lucky, they can try and do, I don't know, what Oklahoma City has done. Because let's go to this. You mentioned it. The Clippers do not have their first round pick this year in the draft. It's part of a trade that now that pick belongs to OKC. So think about this. The Oklahoma City Thunder are 20-1. You heard it. 20-1. In the month of November, they had the highest point differential of any NBA team in history for the month of November. They are kicking everybody's ass, and they are 20-1. And oh yeah, by the way, they own the pick for the Clippers that we were just talking about. Like the ping pong balls. And look at this here. This is for the Paul George trade. Yes. So Paul George, this goes all the way back to Paul George traded, and the Thunder received Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Danilo Gallinari. Then they got a 2021 unprotected, a 2022 unprotected, a 2023 first-round swap, a 2024 unprotected, a 2025 first-round pick, a 2025 first-round swap, and a 2026 unprotected first-rounder. That is a lot of work there, and it just makes me wonder, like, now that we see that, is that the worst trade in NBA history? Like, we talk a lot about Luka, but I'm looking at this, Caroline.
This trade is like an octopus. It's got legs. The Luka trade is still the worst to me because it was so obviously bad from the minute it happened. As soon as it's like one of those trades where it's like you knew where you were when you found out about it. Like I remember being at the Super Bowl and that being like the biggest buzz on Radio Row at the Super Bowl was Luka getting traded to the Lakers. We all knew, every single one of us knew in that moment how stupid of a trade that was. So that makes it even worse because it was so obviously not going to work in the moment. Like, we didn't have to second guess that one. We could all first guess it. Nico Harrison couldn't. We could all see the writing on the wall. This one is bad because it will continue to help the Thunder and continue to hurt the Clippers years and years and years from now. But in the moment, everyone was applauding the Clippers for being aggressive and going for Paul George and capitalizing on a championship window. But now we're seeing, and sometimes the worst trades in sports, we don't see how bad they are until, a few years down the line. Not only did the Thunder get one of the best players in the planet in SGA, they've been able to build a young, competitive roster that looks like the best in the NBA. And they're only going to get better from now on because they have all of the assets to continue to stay better. They can either hold on to this upcoming pick and get, I don't know, AJ DeBonsa, one of the best college players in America right now. They could draft AJ DeBonsa and move on from some of these core young pieces before they get too expensive. Or what they could do is trade that pick and pick up even more picks in the future and just continue to stay good and stay a championship caliber team years and years and years from now. The Thunder aren't just set up for the right now. The Thunder are set up for the next 10 plus years. And the Clippers, I don't think they're going to be able to figure themselves out over the next decade.
Yeah, look at that graphic there. As of right now, the OKC Thunder would have 3 lottery picks if the season ended today. 3 lottery picks. And part of that being Utah, obviously Philadelphia, and then the Clippers. So you talk about the opportunity, like, look, we never know the way the lottery is going to fall. For all we know, they could pick up DeBonsa and Boozer. Who knows? Like, and look, at the end of the day, I think I think the Luka trade is worse than the SGA trade because I spent the time yesterday. I went back and thanks to the glorified worldwide internet, I was able to find the reactions at the time. I read a bunch of articles from then of the trade, and nobody was sitting here saying, "Oh my God, I can't believe you traded SGA. What are you doing?" Like, so to be fair, I think part of the reason that to me the Luka trade is worse is because we know who Luka's going to be. But that being said, we're looking at an Oklahoma City team that when everything was left, when their entire championship roster was just gone, and all of a sudden they were in reset as an organization. One of the questions I asked at the time is, what's the cost of relevance? How do you remain relevant? And some of the reporters around OKC that I talked to at the time said, hey, you're not going to be relevant unless you find a way to use all of this to build for the future. Well, by God, look at what we have right now. I believe that the Oklahoma City Thunder are on the verge of having the best single regular season we have ever seen, which is then going to lead to the best postseason run we've ever seen, and it's going to lead to back-to-back championships. Barring injury, I don't think there's anybody in this NBA that will even be competitive with OKC the rest of the season. They are that good. They are that young. Then you start talking about what they're doing, their draft capital that's available, the opportunities that they'll have to decide who they want to pay, when they want to pay. Maybe they want to get off guys and bring in other young talent. They're going to have so much flexibility while winning back-to-back championships. Again, barring injury. But what we're seeing right now is something that nobody else can compete with, which is depth. Nobody else in the NBA has this many guys that can run into a rotation that can give them valuable minutes and valuable points. Nobody else in the NBA can sit there and get double-digit night in and night out from random people you've never even heard of. And that's how OKC is built. So their defense is absolutely suffocating. Because of their depth, they can outrun you on the court for the entire game. And then because of the stars that they have, their stars can still outstar your stars. This is the best built young team I've ever seen. And I'm just watching them saying, hey, as much as we want to talk about everything else, it's time to put your feet up and understand that the next generation's Golden State is happening right now. And it's happening in Oklahoma City. And the way they're built to be great for the next decade. This is going to be a staggering run of success for OKC.
I think maybe the unsung hero of all of this who deserves his flowers is Sam Presti, the general manager for the Thunder.
Facts.
Sam Presti is quickly becoming, to me, if he's not already, I put him in Howie Roseman territory of general managers you do not do business with, because you're going to end up looking like a fool and he's going to end up smelling like a rose, because what he's going to do is take your pick and find the next great superstar. What he's going to do is, trade for, one of your just role players and turn him into Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. And I think SGA is an interesting kind of butterfly effect. I think they're fascinating in life and in sports, that if SGA stayed with the Clippers, would he turn into SGA? I don't know. I think it's a fair discussion to say maybe he wouldn't. And it was just the perfect, butterfly effect that happened for him to rise to superstardom in the NBA. But that man right now, he's a robber. Arrest him, because he has several counts of robbery from the rest of the NBA, and now he has been, I'm not going to say gifted, he has earned the opportunity to build a championship contending team, to continue this one right now and build a championship contending team for the next decade plus.
You are 1,000% right. I also want to credit ownership. We talk a lot about what makes great teams great. And I'll never forget the first time I ever interviewed somebody in this business over a decade ago. And I said, what makes a team great? And the answer I got was continuity. And that's always stuck in my head. And you think about this. If you go back and look at Sam Presti's time as the GM, which goes all the way back to 2007, right? If it goes all the way back to the 2007-8 season, if you go back that far for Seattle, Sam Presti has had 4 seasons where his team won less than 25 games. And the Oklahoma City Thunder did not blink. The Oklahoma City Thunder did not panic. The Oklahoma City Thunder truly trusted the process. And now, as insulting as that feels to 76ers fans, guess what? Like, they got the right guys in the room. They built this thing the right way. And again, they are so stinking young while they're doing it. I don't know. It puts joy on my face. I know that OKC might not be flashy for everybody. I think we're watching the best basketball we're going to see for a very long time. All right.
But that's on you. If you don't think they're flashy, that's on you.